I'd like to start by welcoming everyone to our CETL workshop on artificial intelligence and assessment. I am honored to be presenting this today with Deborah Licht, who is our incredible assessment overseer. Deb, I'm trying to remember your entire title, but I have learned so much about assessment from Deb, and without her, I feel I would be lost.
Katie, I'm not sure what my actual title is, but it has something to do with coordination. So I might be a gymnast or I might be coordinating assessment. I'm not sure.
Something, but there's a lot of coordination in there.
There it is. And I was just going to say that I'm not sure what people are more concerned about, AI or assessment. I think they might be equal on the list of things that bring anxiety to us.
Well, the main goal here and what we're doing today is we are going to decrease that anxiety. We're going to begin by providing an overview of our approach to artificial intelligence. We'll take a look at assessment and the assessment tools that you have. Then this is a highly interactive workshop. So go ahead and use your Windows key or tab back and forth, but you'll be working in ChatGPT. You'll be trying out these templates. We'll also be dropping some documents into the chat window to help to guide you. On the screen here, you actually have this painting that comes from AI, and all of the images throughout this entire slideshow were generated in ideogram. And this one, I had just asked the ideogram, hey, what does it look like if an aardvark is grading papers? And I wanted this in a painting, and I wanted to be light and beautiful and happy for this Friday. And this is what it gave me, and I love it, and I want to frame it. I want to try to paint it myself. So there's so much that AI can do. But the first thing that I really want to emphasize is the way that I teach my students about artificial intelligence and the way that I use it. There's two avenues that we tend to take when we're using AI, and one is that AI assisted and one is that AI generated. How can artificial intelligence serve as my assistant to help me to create or to develop or put together the things that I'm working on? So how can it assist me in preparing a presentation versus writing that presentation for me? So here you've got a list of these two areas that I got first from Dr. Cynthia Albee's work. I have shared her PDF so many times. She has a variety of prompts for faculty as well as for students. I recently put together a module in my course shell that shows students how they can use some of these assisted items on the left side here. So help me to polish something that I've already written, help me to check for errors. Let me know, am I missing something here? What can I expand on? Versus using it to generate actual content. I prefer to use images in my slides that come from artists. I want to make sure that they get a lot of credit for the work that they do. But I tried to find some aardvark artwork, and I don't know of anyone who is currently focusing on this area. So I went to AI and said, hey, can you generate this for me? Or I need that report template. Can you generate it for me? There's a lot that it can generate that still helps us with our work. Recently, Kindle came out with their AI policy, and they've made it much more clear on that difference between where AI assists us versus where AI is generating information for us. Breaking it down this way has been extremely helpful in my own classes, and my students are already using these approaches. So that's our introduction of artificial intelligence, which now we transition into connecting this to assessment.
So we've been doing assessment for years at the college, and so we're trying to reframe assessment to look at it not as just assessment, but assessment for the purpose of learning improvement. That's really our goal, is to switch from thinking about assessment gathering data, but really thinking about how can we help our students improve their learning? How can we improve our teaching? So we are committed to this learning improvement approach to assessment. Our purpose is to understand, confirm, and improve student learning and educational quality. That is our goal.
The CETL SharePoint is your one-stop shop for everything related to teaching and learning at Pikes Peak. If you're not already in here, please feel free to click on this link that I'm dropping into the chat window. If you're not in here, it will say you've been denied access. Just say, hey, y'all, give me access, or just request it, and we approve it right away. When you get to the front page of the SharePoint, you'll see this little percentage with the pencil and paper here, and this is that assessment for learning improvement. This is a great overview of how we approach assessment at Pikes Peak, but it also contains all of the resources that you need. So if you head over to the resources button here, it will take you to this next page. And at the very top, and I appreciate this being right here, I don't have to scroll, I don't have to find it, and this document library is always kept up to date. This is where you can find all of the documents needed for assessment. Today, we will actually be going into the templates and timelines. If you already have this, use what you have. Feel free to open that document. If not, if you click here and you'll see the annual assessment report template, select the 3 dots to the right of it and download, and then you'll have a copy of it. I'm bringing this up because we will open this up and actually copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and that's how we'll start to turn it into our assistant. So just a quick reminder to find these assessment resources. You're at the home page of the CETL SharePoint. Select Assessment for Learning Improvement. It's that button on that front page, and it's under Resources. If you cannot find this for any reason, let us know and we can send you the link.
Katie, can I just add that this was what used to be the LibGuide or the Live Guide that many people use to find the templates and other resources. So we've moved it all here, all the resources.
All fancy now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That's our overview of artificial intelligence and our approach, as well as assessment for learning improvement. Here is our actual game plan for today. We're going to start by talking about how to turn ChatGPT into your AI assessment coach. This is someone who can be there for you at any time, even when you're working on assessment at 3 a.m., which hopefully you're not working on assessment at 3 a.m., but if you are, AI can be there for you. Next, we're going to talk about how to use it for developing assignments and activities based on learning outcomes, and I have a live example for you. We'll transition into applying the transparency in learning and teaching model, how to take an assignment, and I call it tiltify it through ChatGPT or other AI. And then our final one, infusing servingness into our course activities and lectures, and we pair this directly with Dr. Gina Ann Garcia's work. Are we ready to get started? Okay, all right, fantastic. So let's start by turning ChatGPT into our assistant. And what we're doing right now is we are heading over to ChatGPT. So feel free to press the Windows key, have a Chrome, open up Chrome, open up Firefox. I find that the AI seems to work best in Chrome. Don't ever use Edge. Edge is awful and it crashes and burns all the time. Once you get over there, you can go to openai.com, you can Google ChatGPT, and you can set up an account. Once you are in that account, it's going to take you to a couple of options here, the different tools that they have, but we're mainly using that ChatGPT. So I'm going to show you the screen that you need to get to. It's going to look like this. And as soon as you are here, just give me a thumbs up or a nod. Let me know. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Brian. Feel free to also head to reactions and you'll see a thumbs up there, or there's so many emojis, you can put a variety of emojis. Mickey, great. Teresa, thank you. Jessica, you're there. Perfect. If you get stuck at all, please head over to the chat window. We've got our CETL helper. Thanks, Michael. Our CETL helper, Brian Wheeler, is in the meeting and he can chat with you directly to help you to get in there too.
Also, Katie, maybe just a reminder, if people haven't put their names in the chat window, some people came in after you asked them to do that. So
absolutely. Oh, AJ, yeah, no worries. I don't know if I could do this on my phone effectively, so feel free to observe, and if you run into questions later, let us know. All right, it seems as though everyone might be over there. Yes, Linda.
No, I was just trying to give you a thumbs up.
Oh, you got a thumbs up. You're there. Perfect. That's great. Okay, Kyle, you're getting in there.
Katie, Kristen's asking, how do we get to that screen? Kyle needs another minute, so people are still trying to join us there.
And don't feel rushed. We want this to be hands-on. So once you're in there, feel free to take a moment. Okay, I'm set up here, and then you can give that thumbs up.
Katie, just so you know, I have no access to the SharePoint. I clicked your link and I can't get into it. I'm an adjunct part-time faculty, so I don't think I have any access to the SharePoint.
You will have full access to the SharePoint. Feel free to request it and we'll get you right in there. So I see some other folks are requesting that too. And literally right now, CETL beat me to it. She's already put y'all into it. She's that fast. All right, Kyle, fantastic.
So I have a question. How
Yes.
can I easily watch you and be in my chat GPT screen also? I mean, this is a rudimentary question, but
No, it's a great question. It's such a great question. I am a point and click kind of person, so I always use the Windows key, and I don't know if it probably doesn't show you all this, but I'll use the Windows key and I'll go back and forth so I can click on what I'm working on.
Okay.
What you could do as well is feel free to hide me and then use that Windows key, pop it up, or to switch tabs, Control Tab, and then you can click on that. Oh goodness, Brian, I said the wrong thing, didn't I? I
It's
said
Alt
the
Tab.
thing. It's what?
It's Alt
Alt tab.
Tab.
Alt Tab. Use Alt Tab. Control Tab is for video games. Alt Tab is for everything else. All right.
Alt and what?
Alt and Tab.
Where's tab? Oh, I got it. I'm sorry.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay, no worries. No, Linda, those are great questions, especially if you're working on one screen. Feel free to hop back and forth, and I am around. I'm happy to go through this again. So if you get stuck at all, say, hey, I'm just going to watch Katie do this for a little bit, and then you can try it on your own too. So here's what we're going to do next is I want everyone to take a look at the chat window, and our brave CETL helper, Brian Wheeler, is going to drop off a document in there called Prompts for ChatGPT. And what we've worked on is a series of prompts that will help walk you through the entire assessment process wherever you are. So if you're working on your plan, if you have some data that you're working with and you're looking for more assignment ideas, whatever it might be, our first step is to tell ChatGPT what we want it to do. So here I've got a very specific prompt where I'm saying, I want you to be my kind and supportive assessment coach. It will never quite be like the assessment coaches that we have at Pikes Peak. That team is amazing, but I want them to be as close as possible. The next thing that I've told it here is that I have a template from my college that I need to use, and can you guide me as I'm working on different parts of this? The next part of this, I have asked it to go and look up exceptional assessment reports. Take a look at some of those gold standards and use that as you're helping me in this process. And so now I'm going to show you two parts of this. I've switched back to my ChatGPT. And over here, you might see this is one of those chats that I work through where I fed this prompt to it. And then the next thing it said, here, I'm happy to help you. And I copied and pasted that entire template in here. And this is the part that we're getting to. So I just pasted it. I didn't change the template, anything. I just fed it to it. And in a quick moment, it pulled out the main areas that we're working on. And it asked me, how can I assist you further with this? Which stage do you want to work on? So to do that, I can start a new chat, take the template that I have and paste it in here. And as you paste this in here, change anything that you might need. So if you are specifically working on one part of the template, let it know you're working on your 3-year plan, or you're working on writing your reflection, whatever it might be. Or you can say, hey, I'm starting this from scratch. I want help with a little bit of everything. And then here is exactly what it gave to me and how quickly it put that together. So it said, please take that template, paste it in here so I can see what you're working on. For the template, I wish that I could click and drag the document in there, but it doesn't quite do that. So all you have to do when you're in that document, and this is actually the templates document, but if I hit Control A, that will select the entire document. So Control A selects it all. And then when I go in here, I just press Control V, and that's how I copied in the entire template. I didn't change a single thing, just Control A and then Control V. Then you have the complete template. Those are the first two things we want to do. We're turning ChatGPT into our assessment coach by telling it who we want it to be and what we want it to work on. And this means at this stage, when you get down to these specific areas that it's summarized, you can let it know which one you most want to work on. And I'll zoom in here so we can see this just a little better. But I can say, hey, I've already got my program department overview. I already know what the learning outcomes are. But what I'm really trying to do is think about my 3-year assessment schedule. Maybe I've already typed up parts of my plan and I need edit help with it. Maybe I'm on the actual report and I'm feeling like my brain is turning to mush. I need it to help me out. And that's where you can literally say to the AI, take a look at this paragraph. Can you help me to change the messaging? Or can you help me to come up with a couple of ways to reword this? So it's truly our assessment coach here. You can also ask it what it might think about some of that data or some of the thoughts that it might have. You can even say we had a meeting and these are some of the things that we found. So that's the very first step that we take. Brian, you've got a question.
Not a question, just something to know. I'm using Google Gemini as opposed to Chat GPT, and Google Gemini cannot use templates that you upload. That is a Chat GPT feature only.
Told you Chat GPT was better, Brian.
I would recommend jumping over to Chat GPT, which is what I'm going to do right now.
That's good to know.
And
I've had tremendous success with that.
Could I just add that also not everybody knows where to start with their plans or with their reports. And please reach out to me as the coordinator, to your assessment coach first, if you're like, I have no idea where to start, because maybe we can help you like pinpoint, oh yeah, you really need to be working on section 4. Like, don't worry about the others, because it takes a while to really grasp the entire process. And so ChatGPT might need you to get a little bit of help first from somebody who's an expert at our college.
Absolutely. Very, very good point. So now we've turned ChatGPT into our assistant. And let's say that we've been working on our plan, we've been maybe capturing some data wherever we might be at in the process. Our next step is to figure out how we want to grow. What are we missing in the classroom? What learning outcome were students just doing stellar work on, but is there something consistently that we need to strengthen, that we keep missing the mark on? And I'm going to show you a prompt that comes from my department and what we found after a couple of cycles of looking at assessment over the years, but we specifically narrowed it down to examining learning outcomes that we're struggling with in public speaking. So this next prompt that I have right here, and this is massive, y'all. I'm talking about teaching public speaking. I talk about visual aids in that, and this is the worst possible visual aid ever. There's way too much text and it's an awful slide. But I bring this up because this is a prompt that you can exchange the information here. You can trade a lot of this information out. And especially if you're working on assessment in your own class, you are just doing this for one of your own learning outcomes. You gave students an exam and you notice that they keep missing this one area. I keep going over this, it's not sticking, I'm not sure why, I need a little bit of help. It's 9 p.m. at night, I can't really reach out to anyone right now, I need some ideas, or I'm at campus, but I just need some quick ideas. This prompt works really well for that. So you can see here that we've already had data collection. We have examined speeches and found that students were struggling with nonverbal behaviors. And so we're starting to look at that and orally citing information. So we were able to narrow it down to 2 areas that we want to take a closer look at. And what I'm specifically asking for here is, hey, AI assistant, can you give me some assignment ideas, some activity ideas that I could bring back to my department or that we could all use? So this is also something that you can work on with others or you can work on alone, which is really great. So I'm going back over to my ChatGPT that I have here where I actually implemented this. Here is that prompt that I've used. So if you're using this, I would recommend plugging in your own discipline's information here. And then under each of the learning outcomes, take this out and put in your own learning outcomes. Within seconds, I had several recommendations here. Some of these are things that I already do. Some of these are new ideas that it's pulling, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, all right, these are things that I can transform, that I can expand on, that I can grow. And once you get this list, you can actually go back to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me some specific instructions on that speech performance task, or can you help me to brainstorm some more ideas for peer reviews? I want to develop some peer review activities. And it is able to do that. At this point, once you've told AI who it is and what it's working on, you can just continue to have that conversation. And so I want to encourage you to take that prompt that we have right now, start to add in and infuse it with your own discipline. Is there a learning outcome that you're measuring or looking at that needs to be revisited in the department? Is there something in your course that you found, gosh, this worked last year, but it's not working this year? Plug that in here and see what it comes up with. The great thing about this and why I emphasize the AI assistance is this is still about you and your expertise. You are a vital part of this equation. You are the one bringing all of this to life. But to get some ideas to grow, to expand, this is a neat way to go. You could also have it generate some of these ideas and bring it back to your department. Hey, we're all approaching this learning outcome from a very different way. If you're looking for some additional things that we could try out, here's a list. Maybe we all try something a little different and see how students are reacting to it, see how it matches our teaching style. So we plug that in there. We get that overview of assignments. And the next step is ensuring that as we design our assignments and activities, that we are adding the transparency in learning and teaching. Just by a show of hands or random emojis, who has heard of the TILT framework before?
Also been known as the transparent assignment design, the TAD.
The TAD. Okay, a few of us have. I've been to a couple of workshops now starting at Pikes Peak, but then I've also seen this at the Teaching Professor Conference, and I'm going to turn this over to Deb to further explain the TILT framework and why it's so important for student success.
Sure. So my son was a freshman in college, and one day he was talking to me. He said, "Mom, I'm taking this anthropology class and I don't understand. Our instructor keeps talking about coffee beans." And just like, why does she keep talking about coffee beans? And I said to him, she probably has a reason, but either you weren't listening when she explained it or you didn't understand it. And that really is what the transparent design is about, is letting students know why we're doing what we're doing, why we're talking about what we're talking about. So we need to make a clear statement in our assignments and in our lectures even about the purpose of the content that we're sharing, the assignments that we're asking them to do. So why am I doing this? That's the student asking that question. And then also students need to know what the steps are or the components of the assignment. We need to break those down into tasks. What am I doing? And then finally, they need to know what are the criteria for successful assignment. They need to know, how can I do this assignment in a way that I can do the best I can do. I can be have the most success as possible. And what research has shown is that when we use transparent design, students who are underserved students, are students who might be struggling with some of the content that we're working on, some of the competencies, they do better when we use this type of design. If they know why they're doing it, they're going to be more motivated. If they know what tasks to do, they'll be able to do what we expect them to do. And then if they have the criteria, they'll know how to do them successfully. So those three components are really what the transparent design is about. And it serves all students, but in particular, it serves students who might be first generation students, who might have reasons that they aren't keeping up with what we're talking about necessarily. Katie, does that give a good explanation?
That's fantastic. And that's what stuck with me is I'm telling students why they're doing it, what they're doing, and how to do it. What we found with artificial intelligence, and specifically, I've been using ChatGPT, and this is the free version of it. I'm not even using the paid version. If I already have some assignments, I can copy and paste my assignment into ChatGPT and say, please add the TILT framework to this. I can even add the direct link to the website, and you'll see that in the prompt, so that ChatGPT can go and educate itself on the TILT framework and then transfer my assignment. I also found if I'm building a brand new assignment and I need some help adding that TILT framework, it will guide me through the process. And especially for new assignments, we might not have student work. So I've created some of my own work, but I like to get a variety of examples. So you can also say to ChatGPT, please create A-level work for this assignment. Please create an example of C-level work for this assignment. And it will put together a couple of different examples for you. The nice thing too, when you see that, is I know there's so much concern around plagiarism and artificial intelligence. And when it's creating some of these assignments, you could see, oh, here's where a student can infuse their voice into it, or here's where they're bringing their expertise or their major into it. ChatGPT can't do that as well right now because I didn't tell it to. If I just feed my prompt to it, here's what I get. But you can also ask it to work with different disciplines. Does this assignment work well with automotive tech? Does this work well with my psychology majors? I could try this out and see what ChatGPT does for it. So not only can I add that transparent framework to it, but it can see how learners might react to my assignment as well. So here are two prompts that I came up with. I tried one for a brand new assignment, and then I tried one with one of the assignments it proposed. And I really wanted to keep that mindset. You already have some great assignments. Maybe they don't have the full TILT framework yet. Feed it into ChatGPT. It'll transform it into the why, what, and how. Read it over. You definitely might have some things that you have to adjust, but then you can put it back into D2L so students clearly have those instructions. And this is really helpful just to know that you're not alone as you create this. You've got this bot that can help to support you in that process. It's also helpful too, if you have a certain program learning outcome, a student learning outcome, or a course learning outcome, you can feed that into here and have it help you to build some TILT versions of these assignments. So Tobias, this slide is available, and Brian, we might drop off that document one more time that has those prompts in there. And I have already put this on our SharePoint page, and when I publish this recording, this will be alongside it. So if you say, oh, okay, we're on to TILT, but I was still trying to, I got busy with ChatGPT, or I missed part of that, we'll have the recording here so that you can review it, go back into these prompts, and y'all, I'm an F354. I will talk about AI anytime. Drop by, let's play with it. I've really enjoyed putting together some of these prompts.
Also, there's, Katie,
yeah.
just the reminder that there's a recording of the TILT or TAD workshop we did during Spring Pre-DW that also has those resources too.
Yes, we've got a lot of resources for you, a lot of support. We never want you to feel you're alone when you're creating these assignments. So here's where I have asked it, please provide those detailed instructions. I selected the nonverbal role-playing exercise, and then I just plugged in the second sentence here. I need you to add that TILT framework for me. Within seconds, it was wonderful how it broke it down. I appreciated that it got those objectives. I had told it about my learning outcomes above, and so it pulled them and added them here. And then it told students exactly what needs to be done. And then some scenario examples, reflection questions I can ask after the activity. We've got feedback criteria that matches the 8 public speaking competencies, which is how we measure effective public speaking. And then it has some additional resources that I can bring in as the teacher. So I'm working on this, I'm trying to build this assignment, or I'm trying to rework a signature assignment. Now AI has served as my assistant. And I have been very specific in telling it how I'm putting this assignment together, what it needs to contain. I'll take these instructions, I'll put them into the D2L shell so students can access them right as we begin this activity, or if they miss class that day, they've got these step-by-step instructions. I've got my reflection questions. I'll probably adjust them because I always do, but I didn't have to start from scratch. I had this wonderful assistant here this entire time. So that's an overview of how to apply that tilt framework and how to be very specific and asking AI not to just be my assistant, but pull this information. In the prompts that we've created for you, it already has this website, so you can literally just copy and paste this right in here, or even tell it that you'll be feeding it one of your own assignments. So right now, how do you feel about using AI to tiltify an assignment? Kind of, sort of. All right. Any questions currently? Then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the last part that we have here in infusing servingness into our course activities and lectures. And I'm going to start by having Deb talk to you a little bit more about this and summarize some of those PDW workshops that we had offered, and then we'll go into the prompt that we're using.
Sure. So this is VP Jackie has asked that all faculty and instructors incorporate some sort of servingness activity into their class, into a class this semester, into a course. And so we did a workshop on that during PDW. And this is based on Dr. Garcia's work where, you know, she talked about what we can do in the classroom, what we can do with our students to help them feel as if to help them feel that they belong in our institution, that we are actually serving them in a way that is useful to them. And so these activities then can be anything from, I was talking to one of our executive deans, and she recommended a calendar that includes holidays and celebrations of all cultures, just including that on your in your syllabus or on your D2L shell, and talking with students about understanding that there are many different religions and organizations that have these types of celebrations, and to, you know, that the instructor herself is mindful of that and understands that those might interfere with deadlines, with getting work done. And so so it could be something like that. It could be an activity where you work with students to get to know their names early in the semester. So there's so many ways, and we've had so many workshops on how to make our classes more welcoming, how to help our students feel more that they belong. And as we move to becoming a Hispanic serving institution, we don't have that designation yet, but the goal is to make sure that we are currently being serving our Hispanic students, even though we don't have the federal designation. And so that really is the goal that VP Jackie has. She's trying to help us move in that direction with this requirement for all of us. And that it also includes the transparent assignment design. That is something that she's also requiring us to do this semester. So all of this working towards being better at serving our students, our Hispanic students, our first generation students, low income students as well.
As always, you are not alone. If you are thinking, I need help, I need support, I need more information, the CETL team is here for you. You have a wonderful assessment team that's here for you. And then, of course, you have got the CETL SharePoint, that one-stop shop for everything related to teaching and learning. If you head back in here, and Deb, I believe I saw it earlier. Right there.
Okay.
Right there, right in front of me. I keep looking for the gray folders, but curriculum enhancement for servingness. This is a spring 2024 folder. You can find those examples here, the link to Dr. Garcia's recording that's in here as well. And if you go to the Professional Development Week page, all of the recordings that we've had in the past are stored right here. So if you say, hey, I really do want to go to that one, I want to hear it again, all of those recordings can be found here in the CETL SharePoint. If we go back over here, this is a prompt that Deb and I designed together, and we went through and we tried it with several different disciplines. And we tried to be very thoughtful about everyone across the campus, from health sciences to career and technical education, to everyone from our transfer side, a lot of these different areas. And this worked extremely well. For this one, you might use a fresh chat window. I did find, and I'll go back to my ChatGPT, that when I started to plug this last one in here, it was doing everything based on some of the activities that I had above. So that's perfectly fine. If you say, hey, I need some of these activity ideas, I want them in my plan, or I want to share them with my department, I'm going to try them in my own course. Feel free to go along with this line of questioning. But at any time, you can click on a new chat as well and put this prompt in there. And so it will try it with some new activities. And we had tried it several different times, and I'm trying to make sure I'm in the right one here, but immediately it gave us all sorts of ideas for this. And you could see we kind of went a little bit crazy with these prompts. But every single time that we plugged it in there, it gave us some great ideas, some great ways to use this. So go ahead and grab this prompt, and I'm going to go grab it as well. Kind of got stuck over here. And so I'm just taking this fresh one here, still connecting it to public speaking because that's part of my example. I am going to start this brand new one. And here I've told it, you're now my teaching assistant. I no longer need you to be my assessment coach. I'm working on a 1,000-level course. And I've been very specific. I want to have activities centered around infusing a culturally relevant lens. The goal is to better serve Hispanic, Latinx, first generation, and low-income students. And then please provide me with a list of 5 activities. And you could say 5 activities, 5 assignments, whatever it might be. And then plug in your learning outcomes so that it's connecting back to that main goal for your course. Make sure whatever you're developing meets those learning outcomes. Finally, I plugged in, please go to Dr. Gina Garcia's Servingness Framework. And if you're looking to learn more about this framework, we have access to the Servingness book in the ebook database in our library. If you just search it on the front page of the library or select ebooks, you can pull it up there and start reading it today. I'm going to enter this just to show you what it looks like. And it comes up with 5 possible activities. I appreciate that this is fast, that it's efficient, and because I've told it where to draw its information from, I told it who I am and what I'm looking for, I get actual activities that I could start using right away. Now that I have a couple of these, let's say I do want to use the reflective journaling, and I want to make sure I'm applying that TILT framework. So I go back to my prompts here, and I say I need help tiltifying this assignment. I want to do the reflective journaling. I'm replacing this portion here. So I want that reflective journaling. And I even say from above, just so that it knows, but it makes me feel better. And then it will take that specific assignment and give me detailed step-by-step instructions using the TILT framework. I go back in, I edit. I want to make sure this meets the learning outcomes. I want to add some of my own voice to it. But now I have something that I can begin to work on. And again, I can say, can you please, and I always say please because I've seen Terminator and I want to make sure the bots are on my side someday if we have the robot revolution. But can you please give me an example of the above, or can you please give me an example of a student work for the above assignment? And then it gives me some examples. So I like to create a lot of my own examples, but if you're short on time or you just want to see how a student might work on this, here's your AI assistant. They can come up with some ideas as well. So I see a question in here. Is there a way to get AI to consolidate several documents into one? This is a department-specific assessment, faculty profiles for accreditation. Tobias, I think that's such a great question. And I would personally tell it that you want it to consolidate these documents, feed it those documents, and like copy and paste them in there and tell them to consolidate those 3. For your prompt, I'd recommend giving it a few more bits of information. I'm at a community college or a state college. This is for accreditations for such and such. Here's the website. And I would be very specific there. But yes, it could become your assistant and help you with that.
Katie, could we go back? Oh, thank you. Back to the prompt. I just wanted to point out you have the learning outcomes there where we insert those. And so just to remind people that you can look at the GT pathway competency outcomes. If it's a transfer course, you can go to the CCNS website where it has all of our course level outcomes. You can use any of those. And the goal again is to make sure that the learning opportunities that we're providing students, there's a reason for them. The reason is because we want them to be able to do these things, to know these things, to have these skills. And so when they get into your classroom, it doesn't feel like busy work to them, because you can say, hey, this is a general education outcome, it's a written communication, and this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and now here's the activity. And so it's really important to decide ahead of time which learning outcome we're going to be using.
100%. And I found this so helpful in communication courses. Many times students will say, I'm very nervous to take public speaking. And yet those public speaking skills are going to make a big difference in job interviews and making a difference in your own community and presenting ideas well. I'm using my own public speaking skills here, and it's taken 2 semesters as a student to polish and refine those and then practice them throughout my career. When I explain that, it really helps students to start to think more about their future and what they're doing and why we're doing this, and then making sure that they see themselves in the course as well. So I'm really excited about artificial intelligence and what it can do. I'm excited about these tools that we have. I know there's a lot of conversations, and we're all learning and growing as we go along. Our students are learning and growing these skills, and there's a lot that we can do with it. Right now, I want to open up the floor. I'm going to stop sharing, but can reshare if anyone needs to see anything else. But are there any questions that I can answer right now? If so, feel free to raise a physical or digital hand. You can also plug it into the chat window. Now that I'm not sharing my screen and have a million things up, I can see that chat window clearly. But are there any questions that I can answer right now? Extra long, awkward silence, just in case. Then I'm going to stop the recording here.